What is up, guys? Welcome to this video. In today's video, we're going to be doing alternate history. So, yeah, let's just get right into the video. So, last episode, I remember that I made the triangle lines got absolutely demolished. But, I'm pretty sure I said that, the triangle lines was going to say that the red team and then the pink team were going to try to stay together. Well, that fails pretty fast. And, well, eventually, with the pink team leaving, you do actually technically have the brown team and the pink team going closer, because this is like after like 50 years, like new presidents in 50 years. Eventually the both countries end up joining the Heart Alliance, which is now posing, which does lead to a new threat being posed. And with this newfound relations between the pink and the brown country, the pink gives some of the brown's old colony back. Obviously, not as much as they would like, but it's still something, which means they are back. And the pink team, for the past couple years, they've been struggling holding on to this piece of the brown team, because with massive rebellions in like this, so rebellions in the area that is in the white circle are trying to rebel from the pink team. This area does not care because, well, they're not under brown control. But eventually, the pink team, they just give back this land right here to the brown team. And the red, they are also forced to give back some land by the Heart Alliance. But eventually, you also have, but our brown country, they set sail after this, and they go ahead and they make it onto some islands off the over here, which now means that the red country is not just alone on South America, and that means they are going to have to deal with the brown country cutting them off right there. And well, our red country, they have been at a steady increase for the past couple years. But right now, people are not really pro colony anymore in the red country. But in the brown country, everyone's still like really rioting. There, everyone's like, "Oh, we want peace, yada yada yada." But eventually, you see, as I was saying, the red team and the Russians really close. But eventually, a somewhat rebellion happened in our dark green country right here. And well, right before this rebellion, you have this country actually deciding to leave the alliance, because the triangle, the Diamond Alliance is starting to collapse, country by country. Well, this is mostly the reason. The reason why up here rebelled is because this is mostly people from this country that don't really want to be a part of this country anymore. So they do start to make a push down. Obviously, the red is supplying this country, but not as much as they would be if they were still in the Diamond Alliance. And well, this country is supplying this country right now. And you see, this country's economics was going up like this because of the capital that they had. They had this capital for the longest time. And then we'll say that this is about the war that happened. Ever since that war, it started to get slower and slower. And for the past like little bit, it's been at a steady decrease. During the war, it did go back up and did go higher. But then after the war, it started going back down. And we're about right here right now. So like, it's not the lowest they've been, because the lowest they've been there's like way down there. They have to be like down there to be lower. But as you can tell, their economics not going so strong. So for the past couple years, they've been collapsing, and well, the red team, they're gonna hop on this. But you see, this is technically a red team puppet, and while they're not so pro to this, this will be my rebellion color from now on, guys. But yeah, they're not so happy about this anymore. And well, a riot breaks out about right here. And well, they start marching into red team territory and take the rest of their country. And well, now two rebellions that the pink team technically has to fight. They were about to just declare war on them because they thought that they would be able to get an easy land grab. They decided that maybe it would be better if they don't and work together with them. So they go ahead and start pushing in. They go for an encirclement of this city, but the red team military is quick to react, but they don't do as well as you probably would think they would do. Obviously, they are a really strong country, but they do not do as well as you were hoping. Our red country, they eventually decide that they're going to go ahead and invade this country anyways, because, well, because the Russians are saying you should do it, before these guys take out the rest of the country, because in the past little bit, they've been able to reach down closer to the south, and, well, these guys are threatening the British right now, like the red team right now, because of the area. And now people are questioning, is this the same rebellion? Do these guys just want this land back? And then what would happen with this land? What will they do? Because this country, they are interested in annexing this land up here, and the people up here are looking to join back up here. But the people down here, they're just kind of neutral. This rebellion's just trying to push in. But this country, they don't really want anything farther than this, so they're like, I don't really know if I want that. But the rebellion's like, we're gonna continue pushing just because like they are not gonna give us what we want until the war is over. And well, eventually the red team and the purple team meet up. The red team is able to cut the purple team off from the capital, which is honestly very major. And well, the red team starts to do pretty well. They start to push back a little bit more of this rebellion, but they're still not in core territory. And actually, this rebellion is back in core territory of the red team, which isn't that big of a deal. Honestly, no one really thinks that the red team's going to collapse. They're focusing over here on the main island. So, but eventually the troops that were stuck right there, they eventually fold over. And our purple team, they capture the rebellion, they capture another city. And they pushed out to there. Eventually, they are kind of able to stop the advances from the red and the rebellion, surprisingly. But the red team, they still do make a little of they stop the advances over here. This is where the main military is. But the red team, they are still able to push in on the capital because, well, not much defense over here. And well, eventually the capital falls. They don't surrender because they still have two major cities out here, and before the capital got encircled, the government got evacuated over there. And eventually, the red team military is pretty much lined up completely just on this border. Like, not just the whole red team military, but a large portion of it. And eventually, the green team, they are about to surrender. And well, once the red team, they start making some advances, and they capture another major city, which the government was held on. You do have them surrendering, but they're still around. So the peace treaty, it looks something like this. They do actually take a little bit more than what they actually needed. They just took this. Wait, no, they took out down from here, and they took another major city. And okay, no, where did I miss? Oh my gosh, I hate using 2 pixels because like it doesn't actually fill in what you want it to. And then our red, they just take what they have, except for a little bit. Our green country is still technically allowed this, and this right there. But with this new aggression from the red team, the Diamond Alliance is starting to look like it's gonna collapse even faster than it was already. With a new country over here in Asia, well, with our Korean country, they go ahead and leave the Diamond Alliance, and same with our country, and same with the Japanese country right there. And you see, our Japanese country, they don't really need much, so they just decide that they're gonna, well, no, our Japanese, our Korean country, they don't really need this anymore, so they go ahead and give this land to, they sell this land over to the red country, and they move their capital in celebration to a more populated city that I forgot to color in. It's actually a very major city. It's down here close to there, and well, boom, that's their new capital. It's like the biggest city here on this island, so they decided to move it, and their old capital is now just a important city. And you see this, the Japan island has a lot of history with war and everything, but eventually, the Korean country, they go ahead and send out some explorers. Well, these explorers, they're prisoners, because that's what the Korean country, they're doing that. They're like, okay, all my prisoners, you're gonna go ahead and explore up north, and well, my real explorers go colonize down south. And the real explorers, they go ahead and send out some exploring. They explore a decent amount. And well, it is actually extraordinary how big our Korean country is, because the Korean country has been close to collapsing about 15 times. One in the past 2 years, and then another in the past 4 years. So, all of this side of the country wanted their independence. The Korean country gave them a vote, and as soon as they got the vote, they decided, no, we don't leave them. But these explorers, they're prisoners up here in the north, so they go ahead and decide, well, we're gonna go ahead and break away from you. And yes, the red team war is still going on with their puppet, which isn't really a puppet now, because it's still the same government when it was like it's his great grandson that the red team did put in. But the scary thing over here is how close these guys are actually to the Korean country, because, well, yeah, I should probably stop calling them the Korean country. They're not the Korean country anymore. They're no longer just in the Korean peninsula. They're in like China, and their capital's in China. So, but their capital, it's down here in the south. It's right there, and yeah, that was really about it. You know, there's not really major cities here because, well, no major cities would really be able to stay here. But eventually, the Russians, they go ahead and start exploring up north. And yes, their plan is still to get over here to Siberia, like this part of Siberia. But they just need to get to Siberia before this country gets there. And well, they go ahead and they start exploring pretty fast. They go ahead. This is like pretty fast for up here in the north, because like it's cold up here. Well, they are kind of staying low, and no one's really stopping them from doing this. But eventually, the Russians, they are getting a lot of they're getting a lot of hate from people in this area. Obviously, the Russians have put money into this area at this point in time, and like there are some major cities here and there. But eventually, the Russians, they give them their independence, and well, their color is gonna be, and it's gonna be the lavender. So this is their country color. And well, yeah. So this country, they didn't really want to be a part of Russia, and Russia didn't really need this land. It's not too important. Probably in their economy, their economy probably isn't going to do good. So if Russia ever needs that country, they could probably just invade them. Military's probably not going to be that good either. But you see, there's like pretty much four groups of people in this country. There's these guys up here. These guys right here. I don't really know what to call them. Some guys right here, and then the largest one, which is actually where their government. Which this one is where their government is, because it's has the biggest city, I guess. So yeah, that's where it is. Let me just make sure that that's correct. Yeah, that's right. So, but now the Russians and the Korean country, they do still share relations. The Korean country, they just didn't really want to be a part of what the red team was doing, so they go ahead and decide to leave. That's why they decided to leave the Diamond Alliance, even though the Korean country has done some bad stuff also. Because, well, if you remember what they did to the tribe that was there, they did some bad stuff. But eventually, the Korean country, they start to make a spearhead out towards here, because they kind of expect that there's going to be land over here. They do still think that that is leading to South America. It's going to get a lot warmer, but it's probably not. Well, the Russians, they start setting up some camps closer to the country, and they were able to explore up here in the north. And you gotta remember, this is like right after the First World War, because yes, that was technically a world war. And maybe World War II might be on the horizon, maybe it won't be. But our Russians, they are quickly climbing the strength ranks, and they are quickly climbing up there. They are number 2 right now. They took over the red. So it now goes the Korean country, and then the Russians, and then the red team, and then the pink, and then the brown. Also, the brown colony over here in South America, it's actually going pretty well for them. They were able to make some pretty good exploring and some good land grabs. Not the best, but still they're coming back. But eventually, the over here, the war stops the stalemate, like from right here. The stalemate stops because they have been in a stalemate for the past little bit, and the main goal of this country right here is to either take this place right here, this city right here, or this city right here, because either city will be a massive loss to the red team, because as you saw, they were pushing up here for the first little bit of the war, and then they were pushing down here. And the reason why it'd be really bad is because if they were able to capture this city, it's a major port city, and then the red team, they probably wouldn't be able to make it to North America, because it'll just be a harder ride to North America and everything. But over here, right here, if they were able to take this city, then it's probably going to change. Then it probably just, they wouldn't be able to reach here, which means that this would be suffocated, which means they like if they were able to cut off like this border right here, then they would not be able to get here. They'd probably have to go all the way around. By the time they probably got there, the country this would probably look like that, and then the red team would have to sue for peace. But can you guess what side broke the stalemate? You got it. It was the rebellion. But you see, the rebellion, they did capture the major city, and well, they did actually capture all the coastal line. But what they didn't expect was the red team not to give up, because yes, they did go exactly to plan, but a massive supply of red team troops got over here, and well, eventually, the red team, they start to use some bomber planes, which this country does not have. You see these white spots? These are all the places that bombs have been dropped. Well, you can kind of see how This can be, like, this is killing a lot of people. You can also tell how it's on the front line, where it's killing a lot of red people. So this is where all the bombs were dropped, because yes, bombs were created during World War One. And well, now the red team is able to push these guys all the way back to this city right here. And now they're at the outbreak. Now they're on the outside of the city. And while the red team, they send over a peace treaty to them. They say, here, split the city with us, and we'll give you like 50 years to come back. And well, another wall is built to signify that the city has been split into two. But you can kind of see how this is gonna hurt them, because well, now families actually they tore down houses to build this wall, and like they built it right through the middle, and they tore down the a lot of houses just for the fun of it, the red country. And well, that did hurt the Russian and the red team's relations a little bit. Eventually, the red team's economy started suffering, so they decided that they're gonna go ahead and sell some of their colony over to the brown country that has a lot of brown people living in it, like people that want to be part of the brown country again. So they go ahead and sell this land to them, but keeping this just for the brown team to know that if they ever declare war on them, boom, naval invasion, boom, naval invasion, boom, naval invasion, and then one more naval invasion, and then they're gonna meet up, and then they're gonna take this city, this city, this city, this city, and over here they're also gonna take this city, and then they're gonna come right there, and then just to cause the most casualties, that's where they're doing this. Then they'd send their whole military down, like not their whole military, but what military is here. Misty, what are you doing? For you guys that don't know, I have a dog. You guys heard that? That was my dog. Sorry about that. But yeah. So that was the red team's plan if they ever declared war on them, and they'd probably also be able to push these guys out to here. So yeah. But you see, over here in North America, the red team has now decided that they're going to stop exploring any farther than this line. So they send out explorers with the new gear that they just created, and they went all right here. They were able to explore some of these islands, but they started reaching too cold of area, and the pink team, they carried on exploring these islands with new people that actually are really hyped to do this. And well, eventually the pink team, they start going ahead and setting camps up in these areas. These are the coldest camps that are created in the world. Well, our red team is very surprised of this new aggression from the pink team of colonizing North America. But now you can kind of see how the pink team now kind of have a grasp over anything over this line. And they even set up some colonies here, while the rest does fall over to the red. And well, you can kind of see where the Russians are going to come in, because well, over here in Russia, they finally make it over here. And well, they do actually end up sending over some boats because they want to make it to South America. They explore the rest of this with red team help. And then they set up one big colony. And well, now the Russians are like, oh wait, this isn't South America, this is North America. Well, North Canada. And well, eventually the rest just falls over to the red. So yeah, now the red team is pretty much cannot colonize anymore, and the red team pretty much cannot declare war on anyone. I'm pretty sure there's like one other country, but eventually relations between the Russians and the red team, they start to slip after the red team sent their troops to the border of the Russians and started just marching in. They just walked in and just put up a red team flag in this city and secured this area right here. The Russians have no idea why they did this. The government claims that they did not do this, but the Russians, they know they did, and the Russians, they started to shoot back at the red team troops, and the red team, they declared war on them. And officially, this leads to the end of that great relations of the red team and the Russians. The Russians, they end up leaving the alliance, but the alliance does stay for like about another 15 days until the Rose country follows, because well, they're like really good allies with Russia. And eventually the red team is left by itself. And well, yeah, the brown country, they're kind of just laughing at this. Because the brown country, they're just watching the defeat of the red country. Because eventually the Russians, they meet up with this wall, and eventually they sue for peace. And well, of course, our light blue country, they go ahead and they do actually reach this city, because they also declare war on the red country. They reach the city, and another piece of wall gets building onto this wall. But they aren't being monstrous like the red team. They're just making sure like this wall does not look straight. Like it's not actually straight. It avoids like it like family members, they can come over here and like they can just come over to the blue team. But the red team, they now only have control over this little area right here. So the Russians, they do have the largest part of the city, and the blue team, they have this part of the city right there. So technically, we're starting to have an early Cold War happening between three major powers: the red team, the Russians, and the Koreans. Like that, they're pretty much having that. That's what's happening. Their relations are straining farther and farther. So much so that these two countries went to war. Well, obviously, some countries are still like some of them are still good allies, but like the Russian and the Koreans, they're still good allies. And well, the Russians, they're going to start their own alliance, so it's gonna be the color of red, and it's pretty much gonna be the anti-red alliance. And well, it's kind of crazy because like they were gifting land to each other like not that long ago. Obviously, you have the little Russian friend right there. And well, some other people are interested in joining this alliance, like, oh, I completely forgot about these guys right here. They left these guys like a long time ago. Well, no, they were still in it, but once the Russians left, they left with the Russians also. So these guys, they also joined it, and then these guys joined it, and well, yeah. And you see, if the Russians and the red team actually went to war, it would be crazy because of this. This would be like a really bloody area, because well, the red team, they'd be fighting on this front and this front, and the Russians, if they were to lose this, it would pretty much isolate their colony. And well, actually, the Russians, they are looking to spread down like farther deeper into Asia, and getting some land right here, so they can have an easier time to their colony. But eventually, our country right here, they do go ahead and start expanding some more. Out here in Asia though, they want to secure their area over here in Asia. but it's not going so well because, well, this country, they've been building up a better military, a better economy. They're actually like the strongest. They're like one of the strongest Asian countries. Like, I'm not even joking. They're like up there. They're like right below the brown country, and they're climbing up the brown country pretty fast. And same with, but these guys, they're like, no, these guys, they're above them. And well, this country, they are also above, but they're like, it's a complicated system over here in Asia. And well, eventually our Israel country, they kind of look like this. So yeah, but eventually our Russians, they send over an ultimatum to the red country. They say, we will declare war on you. And the red team, they go ahead and send some troops over here. The troops go ahead and tell their president that like there is like so many Russian troops in this area that they probably would not be able to break through this. That we will declare, but the ultimatum was, we will declare war on you if you do not give me this, right, the brown country this, and us this. So the Russians, they go ahead and they got the brown country, some of their old area back. This actually strengthened some of their relations between the two countries, which is actually really good. And eventually this country, they completely just turn into the brown country. Yep. Well, actually, no. They don't turn into the brown country. They turn into the green country. Yeah, they decided to join the green country because their economy was suffering. And, like, they started to collapse slowly and slowly. And they were actually really close to collapsing into 4 pieces. Don't ask me how that would work. It would not be pretty for me to draw. Oh my gosh, I cannot move. Okay, there we go. And, well, eventually, our French country, they build up a new capital. It's down here closer to the blue country. But our blue country, they are going to declare war on the pink on the green country. But this gets them kicked out of the Heart Alliance. But, well, that's what everyone's voting for, to kick them out of the Heart Alliance. But eventually they just say, here, blue team, stop this war, and the pink team will give you some land. They said, fine. Because they didn't get kicked out, they just got told to stop. The French, they did get some more land that they didn't have, but yeah. They do technically still have a coastal line on the Mediterranean. It's just very small. Kind of like Bosnia's coastal line on the Mediterranean. But yeah, so yeah, now the world, it's kind of getting blank. Everyone's kind of colonizing. Well, everyone's done colonizing. North America is pretty much finished. Our Russians, they completely explored the Russian area. And well, the Russians, they have what they needed. They might expand out a little bit more just to get some more land. They might colonize down there in South America, or well, North America, well, South Canada, meant to say. But eventually, so the world, it's kind of coming to a peaceful time. Well, that's what they think. Because now, the red team, they go ahead and make a very interesting idea. They go ahead and they declare they're going to go ahead and join the Heart Alliance behind the Pink's back. The Pink still hates the Red Alliance. For one, the Pink has really good relations with Russia. So they go ahead and leave the Heart Alliance and they join the Russian Alliance. So yes, it is kind of looking like World War I all over again. But this one's going to be even more bloody. Because, well, you might be like, how? How can it get much worse than it already is? Well, because there's a whole nother alliance. Yes, it's the Circle Alliance. It's going to be, a blue color. And well, all three alliances really hate each other. None of them share good relations. So, like, everyone's like, okay, what's happening? And well, obviously the Circle Alliance isn't as strong, and they do have some strong Asian countries, but not strong enough of Asian countries. And well, yeah, it's not looking so good for them. And well, eventually this country does decide to join the Circle Alliance. So now they're technically like they are the second strongest alliance in Asia. They're the first largest alliance in Asia, though. They have the most landmass in Asia. But our red team, they are also losing grip over some of their colonies, so much so that a whole new country goes ahead and breaks away from the red country, and well, okay. Down here in South America, they end up breaking away. And well, yeah, they aren't a small breakaway. This is like a very large breakaway. So obviously the red team is not quick to react because well, the red team, they're doing stuff in their own country. So they go ahead and say, fine, I don't care. And well, you can kind of see where that's a bad thing. And yes, the red team, they did actually change the borders here. So it looks about right here. It goes down. And then it's like this. They split their colony into two. So this is, they call this Canada. They call this they call this States. And well, probably when the when these guys break up, because when it will happen, you can kind of tell that the one of them's going to join the Russian alliance, and well, one of them's going to be called the United States, and one of them's going to be called Canada, because well, and actually the Canadian people up here, they are demanding that they change the border back to the old one, where it goes down to like right here, and like they are not happy about the new change, so they go ahead and make a different border. It looks something like this. And well, they do tell the Canadians for one reason why the border's like this, not anything different. It's just like right there, the new border, because well, now they do have a chance to span down to like out here, like this area right here. But as you can tell, the red team, they're trying to not make the Canadians break away, and the reason why they're saying that they're just gonna change it to here, and they still have two major cities, is because well, they need a capital if they're gonna be a new country. But eventually, our red country, they go ahead and make some claims, which are very not great claims for the red team country, because they're colonizing, that means, and well, yeah, that's not a good thing. And you see the red team, not the pink team, they are making some smart decisions where they're breaking their colonies up. Actually, they're breaking them up into certain areas, like all these islands are. So everything in this circle is one colony. Like right here, so all of that is one colony. They will probably be one country. This is one, and then this is a different one. So those two are different. And then over here in Africa, one is right here. And then it's just a whole jumble of countries up there, though. And actually, I just realized something, guys. over here in Asia, this is the least colonized continent in the world. There's not a single colony in Asia right now, pretty much, except for right here, which the green team does not count as a colony. They count it as an overseas territory. So, yeah. But in the next episode, the green team, they're probably gonna start exploring some stuff out here. So, yeah. And World War II is probably not gonna happen for the next little bit because, well, everyone needs to prepare. But a new war is going on, and everyone's calling it the technology race. But the people that are winning it is obviously the Russian alliance. The Russian alliance just created the newest gun, and it is the most effective gun in the world. And yes, it is actually better than a gun that they had, like the best gun that they had in World War II. I don't remember what it's called. I know that it was like a really, really overpowered gun in World War II. But they just made it even better than that gun. And it's like 15 years before World War II would actually happen in our life. So that's how close we are getting. Like, it's only 15 years until World War II would actually happen. So it's like 1930, 1920 something, 1924. So World War I just ended, but yeah. So now you can tell that the Russian alliance, they're doing pretty good. And well, then the next one that comes up is actually the Circle Alliance and then the Heart Alliance. Also, you might be wondering, how does this work? It doesn't. So, eventually the red team, the reason why the Heart Alliance is in last place is because the red team lost, and the red team has some good technology. And actually, the red team was kicked out of the Heart Alliance, and well, the Heart Alliance was like, hey, pink team, you want to come back? They said, nope, we're in a new alliance. And well, they're like, oh, okay. Well, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I don't know how to make it for you guys. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace. Bye.